After 14 years of footing the bill for their rent, vacations, and medical needs, I got a message out of nowhere. It read, "Please don't come this Thanksgiving. We're keeping it just family, and that doesn't include you." I didn't push back. I just replied, "Message received. Expect a note." Then I sat down and did the math. $610,000. That's what I'd sent their way over the years. I shut off every transfer, sold the extra car they used, and put the beach condo, already in my name, on the market. After over a decade of being their invisible safety net, that's the thanks I got. A cold text. "Stay away this Thanksgiving. Just family." You're not that. No call. No explanation. Just that. I stared at my phone for a moment, reading the message again and again. It was sent at 7:12 a.m., early enough to hit me before I could make plans. As if I ever made any. As if they hadn't spent years treating me like the backup option, the emergency fund, the silent donor behind everything they didn't want to earn for themselves. I didn't argue. I didn't even type why. I just repeated myself. Message received. Expect a letter. This wasn't revenge I was after. It was boundaries, long overdue ones. I set my phone on the nightstand, climbed out of bed, and opened up my laptop. The first thing I pulled up was the shared spreadsheet I'd created 10 years ago. It tracked every dollar I sent them. Medical bills. Missed rent. Last-minute getaways. Car insurance lapses. I had recorded it all, line by line. It started as habit. But over time, it turned into a form of protection. Not once had they asked if I was doing okay. Not once had anyone said thank you, aside from a quick, "You're a lifesaver," tossed out during a birthday dinner I paid for. The final number? $610,382. I never thought of it as debt. But getting excluded like that? It forced me to rethink what I'd given so freely. I shut the laptop, leaned back, and let the quiet settle around me. Then I got up, walked over to my side drawer, and pulled out the extra set of car keys. The condo deed was there too, still in the envelope my lawyer had sent me years ago. On paper, it had always been mine. It's just that my parents liked to pretend it wasn't. The car? Gone, sold before noon. The condo? Listed before dinner. By the time they realized what I'd done, the ties had already been cut. This wasn't payback. It was finally choosing peace. No more rent for Mom. No more private school tuition for Ethan. No more surprise Venmo transfers to tide them over because Claire forgot to tell her husband about another dental bill. And honestly, I didn't even feel mad. What I felt was something else. Clarity. It wasn't rage. It was that strange, quiet freedom that comes when you finally stop trying to earn your place. Because this was never really about the money. It was about the message. That one sentence said everything they'd always believed, but never had the guts to say out loud. I wasn't really family. Not when there was joy to share. Not when it was time to celebrate. Only when the power went out, or rent was due, or someone needed a signature. I mattered then. But Thanksgiving? Nope. I was inconvenient. A stranger with a familiar face. A walking wallet in a nice pair of shoes. So I gave them exactly what they wanted, distance. And something they didn't expect, a bill. But let's rewind. 14 years. That's how long I played this role. It started the year Dad lost his job. Just temporarily, they said. I was 23, fresh in tech, with steady income, decent benefits, and that naive kind of hope that blooms in your chest when life feels like it's finally beginning. Mom called crying. Said rent was overdue. Asked if I could help, just this once. That night, I wired her $1,800. She didn't even text back to say thanks. And that moment set the tone. Ethan needed braces? I paid. Claire's car died on the way to Coachella? I covered the mechanic's bill over the phone. When Dad needed surgery and insurance got messy, I was the one who untangled it all. No one else stepped up. No one even pretended to. At first, I told myself it was okay. I had more than they did. I could afford it. But it never stopped. Even after Dad went back to work. Even after Claire climbed the ladder in PR. Even after Ethan tried, and very publicly failed, at launching his crypto business. The money didn't stop leaving my account. They just shifted the weight of their needs my way. I became their backup plan. Their hidden piggy bank. Their plan B. They called me mature, responsible. You always hold us together, they'd say. What they really meant. You always pay. And I let them. Because part of me just wanted to belong. But being part of the family had fine print. I had to swallow their insults. Like when Ethan joked, "You must love being single. No responsibilities but your bank account." Or when Mom laughed, "Good thing you don't have kids, you'd be bankrupt." At Claire's wedding, they put me at a side table with the photographer and her assistant. I paid for the open bar. My name didn't make it into the program. And still, I showed up. I kept showing up. Until last Thanksgiving. That's when things started to crack wide open. They planned a trip to Maui. Mom, Dad, Claire, Ethan, even Claire's new boyfriend and her dog. I didn't hear about it from them. No, I caught it on an Instagram story tagged Ohana Time, at a beach I'd helped pay for 3 years earlier during a refinancing to keep the family property afloat. I scrolled through picture after picture, my family wearing leis, sipping cocktails, matching sandals on their feet. I didn't say a word. 2 days later, when Claire messaged that her credit card had been flagged, I Venmo'd her $400 without hesitation. No, sorry, or thanks, just a quick, "Hey, can you spot me?" But this year, that text broke something clean inside me. We're keeping it just family. And that doesn't include you. Then it hit me, this wasn't about a vacation or a dinner or some kind of misunderstanding. It was a message. A clear declaration. I was never really one of them. Just someone on the edge. Convenient. A donor they could easily uninvite. So I wrote that letter. Just 3 sentences. Effective immediately, all financial support from me is terminated. All jointly held assets will be reclaimed or liquidated. Please contact legal representation for further details. This wasn't an attack. It was an invitation to face the truth. Then I attached the paperwork. Page 1, the log, every single transfer, loan, and emergency bailout they'd begged me to keep quiet about, all detailed with dates, bank references, and proof. Page 2, notarized documents showing the change of ownership on the beach condo. I'd updated the title 6 months before. They just never bothered to read the fine print. Page 3, confirmation of the SUV sale, the one Ethan called his. It was gone. Sold. Bought. Profited. By me. I CC'd the family lawyer they'd used for years, the same guy who once told me at a Christmas party, "You're the reason this family runs." I sent that email at 3:34 p.m. on a Thursday, just before the weekend. Just before they would start prepping for the Thanksgiving I wasn't invited to. I waited. Nothing. 17 hours later, my phone started blowing up. "Claire, is this a joke? Mom, please call me now. What is this? Dad, we need to talk. Ethan, bro, you transferred the car." I didn't answer. I switched off my phone, hit the gym, and ate dinner in peace. The panic didn't hit until Saturday. Apparently, the beach condo was all set for Thanksgiving. Caterer booked, Claire's friends flying in. I hadn't even known about any of it. I might have tried renting it out on Airbnb if I'd known. But no. It was locked. Access denied. New coats of paint. Then the tone of the text shifted. "Mom, you're hurting everyone. Claire, you need help. Dad, this family has always supported you. Ethan, I'm stuck in Arizona with no car. Fix this." I didn't reply. They even tried calling my ex. She called me later, laughing. They actually asked me to mediate, like I was still the family therapist. And then came the kicker. A long, desperate email from Mom titled, "We didn't mean it." She wrote it was a hard year. That maybe I just needed space. That they didn't realize I felt excluded. That I'd always been so generous and level-headed. And finally, if I could just reinstate Mom's rent support for December, everything else could be sorted after the holidays. That's when I knew. They still didn't get it. This wasn't a tantrum. It was a severance. And I was just getting started. The real break came the night before Thanksgiving. I was home alone, slow roasting a small chicken instead of a turkey because somehow that felt more honest. No parade on TV. No playlist. Just silence. The kind I used to mistake for peace before I realized it was just the absence of being needed. Then my phone buzzed again. A ping from Claire. No apology. No, I'm sorry. Just a shared folder with no subject line. Only one word, logistics. Curious, I opened it. Inside was a polished itinerary for their Thanksgiving celebration. A formal event, apparently. Custom menus. Seating charts. A full vendor list for catering, flowers, even valet. There was a note about wardrobe coordination for photos, earth tones. Nothing too flashy. Then I saw the spreadsheet. Q1. Q2 family support budget. My breath caught. The first column listed everyone by their initials. Ethan. Next column, contributions. Under my name, $48,000 projected by April. Already allocated. Rent support. Mom, $2,000 times 4. Vehicle maintenance. Dad, $1,200. School deposit, Ethan's son, $5,000. Emergency fund, Claire, $7,800. Beach condo upkeep, $3,000. Q2 buffer, $8,000. Discretionary safety net, $20,000. Every cell filled out with calm certainty. Like the money was already in their hands. Like they were planning how to spend me. And the last tab hit like a punch to the chest. It was titled, Contingency if D becomes resistant. Just 2 bullet points. Remind him how much we've done for him emotionally. If needed, push the guilt angle through Mom. He'll crack faster. That's when the anger faded. Not into grief. Not into fury. Into clarity. They weren't confused or misunderstanding. This wasn't about family failing to respect boundaries. It was planned, deliberate. I was just a line item in their budget, tied to emotional strings they pulled when needed. They never saw me, they only saw what I provided. And this year? I stopped being easy to manage. That night, I didn't drink or lash out online. Instead, I printed out all 28 pages of the file. Then I dug up a folder I hadn't opened in years, my own records, tax returns, bank wire receipts, Venmo screenshots, mortgage cosign documents, even Claire's failed boutique business that I quietly put $24,000 into. Ethan's $9,000 medical bill I paid off, which, it turned out, covered LASIK and a last-minute Vegas trip. Every favor I funded, they called support. I organized it all, line by line, category by category, with one note on top: what family took and never gave back. It totaled $610,382.27, and that was a conservative count. By midnight, I drafted a document. Not a threat, but an itemized invoice, broken down by year, payer, and reason. I attached 3 signatures, mine, my accountant's, and my lawyer's, and wrote one message: this is the total of what I've contributed. Not $1 has ever been repaid. Going forward, I will not be available for contributions, support, or emotional manipulation. Any future contact requires formal mediation. I sent it, CC every family member and BC to the family accountant, the same guy who once joked, without D, we'd be bankrupt. Then I turned off my phone and slept better than I had in years. Not because I won, but because I stopped losing to myself. Thanksgiving morning was silent until 9:47 a.m. That's when the fallout began. Mom begged, "You're ruining the holiday. Please call." Dad asked, "What is this?" "You sent this to our CPA." Claire called it insane. "We're family." Ethan asked, "You sold the SUV? Are you kidding?" Then panic set in. They had guests coming to the beach condo, unaware I'd revoked access and changed security codes 2 days prior. Claire sent a photo of the locked door. "Why can't we get in?" she asked. "Undo this. We have kids here." Then they called the police. "This is illegal." I didn't respond. They spent years pretending my money was theirs. Now they were shocked I remembered it was mine. At 1:23 p.m., Ethan sent a voice note. "D, I'm stuck." We were halfway through Arizona when the car app locked us out. It got towed. "You sold it? You're ruining lives over a holiday dinner." I listened once, then archived it. That evening, I ate a simple meal and put on a movie. My phone buzzed nonstop, unknown numbers, blocked calls, even old family friends trying to mediate. I ignored them all. Because I saw the truth. They never invited me to the table, only to the access. My credit score. My silence. But this year, I RSVP'd to myself. I was finally a party of one. The explosion didn't come from a call or email. It started with a video. The day after I sent the letter, Claire posted a reel. She stood on the balcony of the beach condo, my condo, with wind in her hair, holding a glass of white wine like she owned the place. Soft music played, kids ran in slow motion on the sand, Ethan waved at the grill wearing a shirt that said, "Family First." The caption, "Grateful. United. Unbothered." I stared, letting every pixel burn. The audacity, the sheer gall to flaunt that while squatting in property I owned, paid for, and had now locked down. What she didn't know yet was the video was filmed 3 days earlier. Because that same morning, a locksmith arrived. So did the property manager. By 10 a.m., smart locks were changed. Utilities cut off. Security cameras synced to my phone. At 11:32 a.m., I filed a formal notice declaring any unauthorized occupants trespassers by sundown. Then I waited. By 4:17 p.m., Ethan called. I didn't answer. 5 minutes later, Claire texted, "Is this your idea of a joke? The code isn't working. The power's off. We have guests arriving." I sent one reply, "Enjoy your gratitude," from the parking lot. I knew how it looked. But this wasn't revenge, it was reclaiming my dignity. Then I muted the thread. That night, the group chat I hadn't checked in 6 months lit up like Christmas. New name, time to heal. First came the guilt, Mom crying, "You broke her heart. This isn't who you are. You're better than this." Then fear, "We have nowhere to go. The car's gone. Ethan's stuck. Do you even care what you're doing to your family?" I didn't reply. Instead, that same evening I reached out to the family accountant, the same one who used to call me the glue holding things together. I had him send formal notices withdrawing me from the backup trust, the emergency fund, and the joint tax shield I'd created to cover their sloppy filings for the last 6 years. By morning, their accounts were flagged for review. Claire's credit card got declined. Ethan's tuition grant was revoked. Mom and Dad's property tax auto payment bounced. The dominoes fell faster than I expected. At 9:03 a.m., Ethan showed up at my door. Disheveled, sweating, rattled. As if he'd just realized the ground he was standing on was fake turf, and I'd pulled it out from underneath. He didn't knock, he pounded. When I opened the door, he didn't say hello. He just stared at me like I was the villain in a movie he didn't know he was starring in. "You left us stranded," he said. I leaned on the doorframe, calm and composed. "You left yourself stranded. I just stopped carrying the weight." I wasn't abandoning family, I was walking away from a role that broke me. He shook his head. "You don't understand. I have a kid on the way. Claire's got bills. Mom's freaking out. And now Dad's." I cut him off. "Let me guess. You're disappointed." Ethan opened his mouth but had nothing to say. Then he tried the line I knew was coming, "This is still your family." "No," I said. "This is a family that saw me as an ATM. A backup plan. A resource to mine." He stepped forward. "We didn't ask for all that. You just always offered. You never gave me the choice not to." He didn't answer. Just stood there, red-faced and darting like a man trapped in a house already burned down, still searching for the front door. Then he dropped the last card. "Mom says you've changed." I smiled. "She's right." Then I closed the door. An hour later, Mom called. Left a voicemail so long it cut off halfway. She cried, begged, accused, all in one breath. She said the condo was a gift to the family, something I promised to share. That this holiday was supposed to be about healing. She ended with, "You've always been the strong one. The responsible one. We need you to come back." I sat with that for a while. Part of me mourned that it had come to this. But another part refused to lie to myself anymore. Then I sent her a photo, a screenshot of the spreadsheet from the Q1 and Q2 budget plans they'd built behind my back. The one that listed me as D. A funding source. A number. Underneath, I typed, "This is who you needed. Not me. That version's gone. Happy Thanksgiving." By that evening, my phone was full of missed calls. I turned it off, made myself dinner, put on music and sat, finally after more than a decade, in a life that was mine. Not inherited. Not demanded. Not bought with guilt or rented out for crumbs of conditional love. The aftermath didn't scare me. It freed me. Because when you stop being their oxygen, they learn what real breathlessness feels like. They say silence is peaceful. That's a lie. Real silence, after the storm, after the severance, is a vacuum. It hums. It pulls at you, like it's waiting for you to fill it again with apologies you don't owe and explanations they don't deserve. But I didn't. I let it ring. By December, the family had gone quiet, not healed, just hushed. No more voicemails. No more late-night texts pretending nothing happened. Just absence. And you'd think that would hurt. You'd think I'd wake up wondering what if. I didn't. Because for the first time, I could see the space they used to fill, and how much I bent myself to fit their shape. They had Thanksgiving without me. At Claire's cramped apartment, from what I could tell through a tagged photo someone forgot to hide. Paper plates. Fold-out chairs. A cake from a grocery store with a misspelled, "thankful." Claire smiled through it like a politician. Ethan looked like he hadn't slept in days. Mom wasn't in any of the pictures. Dad posted a cryptic meme 3 days later. Sometimes the tree must be cut to see who falls with it. 3 likes. One comment from a cousin, "You okay, Uncle Rick?" I didn't respond. Instead, I finalized the last step. The condo lease was signed. Trust accounts closed. The final asset, the emergency fund I'd built, funded, and quietly held in their names for years, was dissolved and distributed. To me. Legally. Quietly. Finally. I wired part of it to a cause I actually believed in. The rest? It sat untouched, not because I needed it but because I earned it. In January, a letter arrived. Handwritten. The envelope was thick, the kind you use when you want weight to mean sincerity. Inside were pages of sorrow, nostalgia, and excuses. She wrote about how hard things had been, how much she missed me, how families fall apart when people don't forgive. Then came the pivot. She asked for help. Not money, understanding. Which is what they always wanted. For me to understand why they took and why I shouldn't make them feel bad for it. I folded the letter, lit a match, and watched the edges curl in the sink. Then I picked up a pen and wrote one sentence. I can forgive. But I won't be used again. I sealed it and sent it back. No return address. That was 3 months ago. I haven't heard from them since. No birthdays. No group chats. No desperate cousins trying to mediate. They're gone. And in their place? Silence. But this time, it's actually peaceful. The kind you don't fill, the kind you protect. And when people ask what happened between me and my family, I tell them the truth. I stopped being their donor. They stopped being my blood. Maybe one day we'll speak again. But if we do, it'll have to be on terms where respect weighs more than expectation. And this time, I kept the receipt.